Okay, so here's something to think about. The word biblical might not mean what you think it means. Today, we're diving into how definitions shape belief, and why the real crisis in theology might not be about doctrine at all.
That's such a bold way to start. I mean, we use words like biblical or truth all the time, but we rarely stop to ask who decides what they mean, or how those meanings came to be.
Exactly. And that's the heart of the issue. It's not just about disagreements over belief or doctrine, it's about the definitions that frame those beliefs. Before we even start debating theology, the terms we use have already been shaped by communities, institutions, and histories.
That's such an interesting way to look at it. It reminds me of something Ludwig Wittgenstein said, that the meaning of a word is its use in the language. It's not just about what a word means in theory, it's about how it's used in practice.
Right? And that's where theology becomes more than just an academic exercise. It's not about static definitions, it's about understanding how words like biblical or obedience are lived out in real communities.
And that's where it gets tricky, doesn't it? Because if those words aren't neutral, then neither are the beliefs built on them. They're shaped by the same forces: history, culture, power dynamics.
Exactly. And you see this dynamic play out in Scripture itself. Take the book of Amos, for example.
Oh, Amos is such a great example. What are you thinking of specifically?
In Amos 1:9-10, Tyre is judged for not remembering the Berit Hashem, the covenant of brotherhood. What's fascinating here is that the failure isn't about vocabulary, it's about zakar, or remembrance. And not just any kind of remembrance, but remembrance as a moral act.
That's such a profound idea. It's like Amos is saying that the problem isn't that Tyre didn't know the right words or the right doctrine. The problem is that they failed to live out the meaning of those words.
Exactly. And that's where the connection between language and morality becomes so clear. Words like covenant or brotherhood aren't just abstract concepts. They're tied to actions, to relationships, to how we treat one another.
It makes me think about how language can be used not just to communicate, but to control.
Oh, absolutely. That's a theme you see in George Orwell's 1984.
Newspeak.
Yes, Newspeak. The whole point of Newspeak is to diminish the range of thought by controlling language. If you can control what words mean, you can control what people are able to think.
And what's chilling about that is how real it feels. I mean, we see echoes of that in the way language is used in politics, media, even religion.
Definitely. And it's not just Orwell. You see a similar theme in the Book of Eli.
Oh, I love that movie. The way it explores the power of Scripture is so compelling.
Exactly. The Bible in that story is more than just a book. It's a source of immense power. But the way that power is used depends entirely on who controls its interpretation.
Right, like Carnegie, the antagonist, he doesn't want the Bible because he believes in its message. He wants it because he knows he can use it to manipulate people.
And that's where Amos comes back into the picture. Think about Edom and Amos. Their failure wasn't just about forgetting. It was about selective memory. They remembered what served their interests and forgot what didn't.
So it's not just about having the words, it's about how you use them. And that brings us back to the idea of control. If you can control the definition of a word, you can shape the beliefs that follow from it.
Exactly. And that's not just an abstract idea, it's something we embody in our daily lives.
What do you mean by embody?
Well, think about cognitive behavioral therapy, for example. Aaron Beck talks about automatic thoughts, those knee-jerk reactions we have to situations. Those thoughts are shaped by the definitions we've internalized over time.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. So if we've internalized a certain definition of, say, obedience or faith, that's going to shape how we react to situations, even on a subconscious level.
Exactly. And it's not just cognitive, it's somatic too. Bessel van der Kolk talks about how trauma is stored in the body. The definitions we live by aren't just in our heads, they're in our very bodies.
That's such a powerful idea. It makes me think about how much of our theology is lived out, not just thought out.
Exactly. And that's why the crisis in the church today isn't really about belief. It's about definition.
That's such a profound takeaway. If we want to address the divisions and conflicts within Christianity, we need to start by examining the definitions we've inherited.
Absolutely. Because if we don't, we're just building on a foundation that might not hold.
It's a call to go deeper, isn't it? To not just accept the words we've been given, but to ask where they come from and what they mean in practice.
Exactly. And that's the work of theology, not just defining terms, but living them out in a way that's faithful to their true meaning.
Well, that's a lot to think about.
It is, but it's also exciting. Because it means we have the opportunity to re-examine our foundations and build something stronger.
And that's a hopeful note to end on.
Definitely. Until next time.
Until next time.